Hey everybody, how's it going? Macabre Monday. I haven't done one of these in a little bit, and I apologize. It's been a moment. Okay, I'm sorry. Life and audiobooks and all the stuff that I could complain about, but nobody wants to listen to that, right? Nobody wants to listen to that. Lots of good stuff. I've been super busy, which is why I haven't really done one of these in a while, but if you're stopping in here for the first time, Macabre Monday, because I love alliteration, is why it's named Macabre Monday, but I try to stick to that theme and we read short horror fiction. So if you're into that, you're in the right place. Two fantastic short horror stories this morning, or this evening. Time zone. It's evening. I don't know why I said this morning, because I got one of them this morning. That's why. But the theme this month for theotherstories.net, which is where I do a lot of short horror story narration, is found footage. It's actually for next month, or maybe the one coming. We do them a little bit in advance, so I can't remember exactly when they hit. I think it's next month, though. But anyways, two stories from this theme we're going to be narrating tonight, and they're really good. The first one is more on your, just general kind of horror side. And the second one gets a little gory. So, if you're a little squeamish, maybe not the one for you. Fair warning. It doesn't get crazy. But it's got some body horror in there. So just letting you know. I have been having a blast doing Whiskey Wednesdays. We are on for this Wednesday, for Whiskey Wednesday, where I read a first chapter from an author in the community that wants to volunteer, a brave soul. So we're on for that. That has not been canceled or changed. So the third one this month, though, will be, though. So I'll let you know again when we get close. But this Whiskey Wednesday is going to be pretty good, too. So tune in for that, 6 p.m. PST, same time as this one does. So this one goes on. So anyways, I think it's time to get maybe a little spooky, shall we? Yes. And get into the booth and read some short horror stories, because that's what we're here for, right? All right, let's jump over there. I'll meet you over there in just a second. See you there. Run into the booth. Okay. All right. Yeah. All righty. Okay, here we go. Let's fire up the old iPad so we can do some reading. All right. The stories. I didn't even tell you what the stories' names were. Shame on me. You see, it's been a while. The first one is going to be called The Reed Property Tape by Henrik von Wolfcastle. Amazing name. And the second one will be Seeing is Believing by Ben Matthews. And again, these will be up here, I believe, next month, fully produced by theotherstories.net. It'll have, obviously, sound effects to it, music to it. It'll be edited. They do an amazing production over at theotherstories.net, and I love reading for them. And I've been doing it for years, and will continue doing it for years, because it's a lot of fun. Also, since you guys are here, I'll let you in on a little behind the scenes of the other stories, if you will. Fairly recently, within the past year or so, I did a series, a very well-produced series, like a special production. They put a lot into it, and I think it turned out fantastic. That series is coming back here very soon. We're in the process of getting all that kind of stuff up and running again. I got a little message from one of the other stories gentlemen, and he said, we're back on, and we're going to be doing the rest, or at least some more in the series. There's quite a few seasons of it. So Swift Bear and Laxon is what I'm referring to. It's kind of a sci-fi take on Western, kind of Western. Old West meets sci-fi meets horror, and it's really good. Fantastic writing, fantastic production around the whole thing. Check that one out on theotherstories.net. Swift Bear and Laxon. There was the first iteration of it was done, and then they decided to change narrators to moi. So the second version of it is the one I'm referring to. If the old one's still up, I'm not sure. I haven't checked out their website in a bit. But good news. Another little note before we get into the reading. On Twitch, if you're joining me, I'm on Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram Live. Hello. If you're on Twitch, what's going to happen is every half hour, and on the hour, they do ad breaks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause when that ad break happens so that you don't miss anything if you're on Twitch. On the other platforms, you're not going to see the ad, but we're going to pause for a little bit. We're going to, shoot the breeze, as it were, for a couple minutes. And then when those ads are over, we will resume so that, folks don't miss stuff over on Twitch. You'll hear the Old Spice jingle when that happens, and that'll be the cue that we're going to take a quick couple-minute break and then resume our story wherever we left off. So let's reset the flub counter. If you'd like to partake and you're on Twitch and YouTube, there's a fun little game that people like to play on the channel. And all you have to do is type in exclamation point flub in chat, and it'll add a flub to the counter. It'll look something like that if it worked. Yes, it did. Awesome. And you can keep me accountable on all the mess ups. One of my mods really likes to play this game on Whiskey Wednesday, but I'll tell you, drink responsibly, because sometimes I mess up a lot, you know what I mean? So if you're doing that routine, careful. Switch to water early. All right. Anyways, let's get into some of the short horror stories here. The first one is The Reed Property Tape by Heinrich von Wolfcastle. The audio kicks in with a whirl over a black image. "Will you quit playing with yourself and catch up already?" Joel asks. His voice is distant and difficult to hear over the wind berating the microphone. "Slow down, jeez!" I yell. A line of trees passes over the television screen as the VCR's tracking finds its footing. The effect makes me feel like I accidentally fell backwards in time. I'm out of frame, but I'm the one pedaling the bike that's moving the camcorder at a snail's pace. The video camera rests in the front basket. I had it aimed forward to record everything as another set of eyes, but it tipped over as soon as I jumped the curb from the sidewalk onto the street. The image on the television jostles before it's set right again. It ultimately locks onto the tail end of Joel riding his bike ahead of me. "You're recording my ass, aren't you?" Joel asks from over his shoulder. "I knew it." "Just wait up." The image teeters as I rise from my seat to pedal harder. "Just gotta cut through here." We make a hard turn and the camera jumbles again as we trek downhill on a gravel path. "Hold up, this is it." My bike comes to a halt, Joel's too. I pick the camera up from the basket and zoom in on the house sitting half a football field away. This is the Reed property. It's a red and brown brick ranch, and I always expect it to look more sinister than it does. Let's add in a flub to keep myself accountable. Boop. There we go. All right. It's a red and brown brick ranch, and I always expect it to look more sinister than it does. It sits alone on a half-acre of land, surrounded only by fields and tall trees. The wood fence bordering the yard is falling apart, and the grass hasn't been mowed in forever. But the house itself looks like it's sleeping, like someone could turn on the lights at any second, and it might just open its eyes. Doing my best impression of a documentary reporter, I lower my voice an octave and begin to narrate. "This is the infamous site of 12 recorded murders, all teenage boys found with their heads cut off." "What the fuck?" Joel cuts in. I pan to his face. He squints at the light and slaps the camera away. The view drops to our feet, standing at the intersection between landscaped public grass and the wilderness of Reed Property's overrun lawn. "Owned by Earl Hungerford,
Notorious serial killer clown, I begin again. You're into some morbid shit, Simon. So, this is real? He asks. The camera nods at the house as I continue. The Hungerford owned a magic store, and he used to lure boys into his house with promises of secret magic tricks that were banned by the International Brotherhood of Magicians. The camera zooms in on the dented garage door. It's covered in fresh graffiti. It happens every Halloween. He'd handcuff them to a table and then tell them he'd only show them how to take the cuffs off if they demonstrated psychic powers. I continued. Holy shit. Wait, I've heard of this guy, Joel interjects. Yeah, he'd bring out a big fucking axe and make them call out coin flips, right? They had to guess it right 10 times in a row for him to set them free. Said the stress of it would unlock their psychic ability or some delusional thing. Joel paused to think. But he had a messed up coin that was heads on both sides. I quoted a phrase Hungerford used in an interview once. Axe to the head or axe to the tail. Heads I win, and tails he wails. I point the camera back to Joel and catch him in a moment of sincerity. And he'd record it all and send the tapes back to the victim's family, he adds. Yep. There's a beat of silence with the camera fixed on the black mailbox at the end of the driveway. The numbers that spell Hungerford's address are missing. I turn the camera back to Joel. What the hell? Joel shakes his head. Why is this house still here? My dad says it's complicated, but I'm glad they didn't bulldoze it or anything. You would be. His face breeds disgust. Well, I like that whatever's in there is stuck in there, I answer. I wouldn't want it set free. You know what I mean? You think it's haunted? Joel asks. He brings his hands up to form air quotes. I always forget that he lost his pinky finger in a lawnmower accident as a kid, and I try not to stare at it when I see it. Aren't you too gifted to believe in shit like that? He grabs the camera from me and points it at my face. Hey, I call out. I use my hands to shield my eyes from the light. You think this place is haunted, he accuses. I have to show you something, I say. I look conceited, like I'm proud to have a secret he doesn't know about. I hate the sight of it. I hold up a finger and proceed to rummage through my pocket. Here. I hand him a coin. What's this? Joel asks. Just a regular quarter. Okay, Joel says with skepticism. But if you go onto his property and you flip that coin, it will come heads up, no matter what. Bullshit. Try it. Joel has the camera pointed at the coin in his right hand. He tosses it into the air and lets it fall in the manicured grass. It comes up tails, and he zooms in on it. Public property, I assert. Try it there. The camera comes up and presents a close-up of my pointing hand. The shot pulls back to show me gesturing to the wild grass a foot away from us. What if I stand here and flip it there? He asks, gesturing the camera from the public field to the Reed property. You and the coin have to both start and stop on the property, I explain. You've studied this shit, haven't you, nerd? His smirk presses on his words. Joel moves with the camera onto the Reed property, and the tape cuts off. A blast of static overtakes the screen until an image of my coin comes into focus on the back of Joel's hand. His laugh sounds cautious. Heads again, he muses, as he walks towards the house. The coin pings against the driveway and rolls seemingly against gravity up to the garage door. Joel follows it with the camera until he finds it resting heads up. What the hell? He laughs. A gush of wind unnerves the microphone and distorts the speakers. When the audio returns, Joel breaks into more laughter. It's a contagious and familiar sound. It makes my stomach heavy. Still heads, he quips, and moves the camera around until he finds me. I'm far away, standing motionless over our two bikes. I shout something in the distance, but it's inaudible. Hey, after I get your drone back... I think I'm gonna keep it, he yells out. Actually, I'll flip you for it. My silhouette looks on blankly as Joel yells, "Heads!" and laughs again. It's loud enough to crinkle the audio. The camera turns back to the house. I've never seen it close up before, and it feels claustrophobic. He moves from one obscured window to the other, examining the places where the glass is fogged over or marred by condensation, and then he holds the lens focus on what looks like a collage of handprints. Joel turns the camera around and records his face. "This is fucked up, son," he says with a smile, and then returns the camera's gaze to the front door. The handle looks broken, hanging like a limp handshake. No way this will open. Joel jiggles the door handle with his deformed hand. I cannot hear my voice call out to him on the tape, and I realize now that he can't hear me either. But I know I'm yelling at him to leave it the fuck alone. An explosion of static and sand attacks the screen, and the video defaults to an electromagnetic noise. "Hello?" Joel barks over excited fuzz. Hesitant footsteps follow, and the floor creaks between beats of agitated resonance. A metallic rattling startles me. "Unbelievable," Joel mutters to himself. "Fucking heads." The VCR's tracking flirts with finding the video, and I catch glimpses of a darkened room populated by furniture covered in sheets. The light from the camera highlights a spray-painted clown face scribbled across the walls before it shifts to an empty arched doorway and stops. There's a blackness there, purring in humid waves. "Simon? You dick, is that you?" Joel asks. His voice is gruff and forceful, but fear belies his tone. The tape hisses. "Is someone there?" he tries. "Hello?" The camera remains anchored on the doorway. Without words, the camera tumbles from Joel's hands and crashes against the floor. The microphone is flustered by unseen movement. Somewhere in the house, a door unlatches and creaks open, and I notice that I'm holding my breath. I can barely make out the doorway in the darkness, now turned over on its side. Static builds in pixelated dust at the sides of the television and swells until it reaches the frame of the door, where it meets the unlit abyss. My eyes feel like they are glazing over as I look into it, and suddenly I'm overcome with sadness, like every part of my body wants to weep. "Oh shit!" Joel pants. "Oh shit! Oh shit!" I clamber to my feet, and I scramble closer to the television, straining to make sense of what I'm hearing. A large crash, furious footfalls, running, but the camera remains focused on the void in the hallway. "Holy shit!" Joel squeals, and then he screams for me. "Simon!" Muffled scrapes of audio crackle in and the speakers crescendo into a rolling wave of distortion before ceasing into silence. Quick, panicked breaths emerge from the stillness, followed by Joel's pleading. "Oh no, please don't!" An empty bass sound lolls out from the speakers like a war horn, and it makes my ears ring. "Oh God," Joel whimpers. "I'll do anything. Please, just give me a chance," he begs. A slow rumble builds, rhythmically climbing and reverberating through my shaking body. "Please, anything," Joel offers again between heaving breaths. His voice is small. A high-pitched sibilance reverberates in response, and I have to move my hands to cover my ears. "Yes, anything." Joel steps back into the frame of the camera as he retreats into the hallway with his arms raised. A flash of light bounces against my coin clenched between his fingers. "What do you want?" he pleads. His gaze is fixed on a point just off screen. He looks like he's about to cry. The audio static blares in return. "No," Joel's voice cracks. "I won't do it." His body stiffens, and a rebellious look of determination comes over his face as he shifts his gaze from his tormentor to another point in the house. He bolts past the camera without hesitation, stumbling over his own feet to run back to the door. He clips the camera as he passes it, sending it spinning on its side and sending Joel tumbling to the ground. As he falls, the camera catches my coin, scurrying from his outstretched hand. The autofocus adjusts to capture Joel's defeated expression as the coin rattles to a stop. "Don't say it," he sobs. A cacophony of adolescent voices squeal into one reverberated word. Heads. A discharge of white noise and static takes the screen and implants itself as an immediate migraine behind my eyes. I turn from the television and find white and black dots crowding my vision. I squeeze my eyes shut and swipe at my face, but I can't fix it. A thudding sound brings my attention back to the TV. It's dark, but I can identify an outline of something circular. Soon the camera is moving, rising from the floor. The light flickers back on and illuminates the room in flashing and lightning flashes. My mind works to argue against what I see, wanting to identify a magic trick or a rabid hallucination to explain what is so undeniably real. My cousin's severed head stares back at me with wild eyes, his mouth yawning in horror. The video continues in chaotic stabs of light as the camera moves throughout the room, passing over cloth-covered furniture splattered with blood. It comes to the window and pauses. The curtain hanging over the glass is black and heavy. A long, thin hand with age spots reaches forth and grabs at it, its delicate bones protruding from under a thin veil of skin as it squeezes. With a violent tear, the hand rips the curtain back. In the distance is me. My frozen silhouette stumbles backwards and falls into the bikes. I scramble, tripping over myself as I crawl backwards before making it to my feet and running out of the camera's range. The frame of the television screen aligns with the frame of the dirty window. It's sunny outside and quiet. Far away in the empty field, our bikes rest and wait to be picked up. Slowly, a small hand, soft and gentle, looms into the picture and rests upon the window pane. Then another. Then another hand, and another, and another, until the window is smothered by them. Finally, one last pinkyless hand rises up and presses upon the glass and waits. Dun dun dun. There you go. And that was the Reed property tape by Heinrich von Wolfcastle. I hope you enjoyed that story. And that'll be out, I think, next month on The Other Stories, obviously with sound effects and music and the full production. So check that out. Fantastic podcast. Great bunch of stories over there. And all of these stories are submitted by authors in the community, too. So if you go to theotherstories.net, if you're an author and you want to submit a story that falls in line with whatever that month's theme is, you might get your story picked up and done the whole treatment, narrated and the full production and thrown up on the podcast. And that'd be kind of cool, right? So if you have a short story that fits it, or you want to write one for The Other Stories, go on their website and submit your stuff there. So, yeah, we're going to move into the next one. How are we doing on time? Let me check in here. Cool. I think, yeah, we're probably going to have an ad break here in a little bit, in about 6 minutes. So we'll probably just start into this one. And we'll probably get like a page done, and then we'll have to pause for a second. That first one was a quick one. Well, this one will be kind of a quicker one too. But makes sense. They're all short stories, right? Hopefully you're enjoying it. Thank you for joining me if you're watching live on YouTube, Instagram, or Twitch. I appreciate you. Here almost every Monday at 6 p.m. PST doing reading the short horror story type of thing. And then every Wednesday, 6 p.m. PST, reading a first chapter of an author's book that they've submitted. I just reach out on on social media and ask, hey, anybody want to submit their first chapter? And we read them. So it's been absolutely awesome doing Whiskey Wednesdays, just simply because of all the stories that have been submitted. All of you fantastic writers out there. Yeah, I've just been exposed to so many different genres that I probably normally wouldn't seek out myself. I've read just everything, right? From science fiction and fantasy to male romance to you name it. I've probably read it at this point. And it's been really cool. And it's kind of opened my eyes to different, genres, like I said, that I probably wouldn't just go out on my own and read. And they've all been absolutely fantastic. Y'all are pretty talented, all right? Just need to calm it down, all right? The stories have been great. So it's something that I really look forward to every week. It's kind of that middle of the week, sit back, relax with a whiskey, and read some good stories. It's a good time. So thank you for joining me there if you do. And there will be one this week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. PST. So when I get back to the desk, I'll look up what it is because I have it written down on my calendar, and I'll let you know what the story is. Give you a little sneak peek information, if you will, about what's coming up this Wednesday. All right. I didn't kill enough time to make it to the break, so we'll just start, and then we'll give a pause whenever the ad break comes on. All right. Seeing is Believing by Ben Matthews. The Warnenagara Wanderer Curse Explained. The video starts with a freeze frame, a frozen image taken from CCTV footage inside a small police station. The camera is in the upper corner of the room and looks down onto an empty holding cell, a desk, and some filing cabinets. The timestamp reads 22:15 of 08/22/2019. The most terrifying video I have ever watched, says a nasal male voice, is the Warnenagara Wanderer. It's potentially the most cursed video of all time. For everyone who has watched the video, the original video, immediately blinds themselves and tears out their tongues. If you don't believe me, I have included a list at the end of this video with the names of real people who have suffered this exact fate. And there's our cue, right as we start. It's the ad break. All right, and that'll go on here for about a minute and 20 seconds, and then we'll jump back into it. I guess I'll take this time again to say hello and thank you for joining. Trying out this Instagram Live thing. I got to figure out here how to get some of the integrations going on it, because all the fancy stuff that we can do on YouTube and Twitch, I haven't gotten a chance to figure out how to make it work on Instagram Live. I know I can get some of the automations to come over if I do TikTok Live, because I can stream from the desktop and kind of do the same stuff that I'm doing on those two platforms. But I'm trying to figure out how to get it over. I'm using streamer.bot for a lot of the automation messages and stuff that you're seeing in chat, and little interaction that we can have back and forth. So I might look into the code there and see if I can somehow interface with Instagram, but it's not looking promising. So, because I just don't think it's one of those platforms where there's like a lot of integration. I think it's just stream from your phone usually live. So anyways, hopefully it's looking okay, and you can hear me just fine. Let me see. Yeah, it sounds like okay. We're coming through. Okay, ad break is over. All right, let's resume, shall we? All right. So where we left off, our nasal male voice on this particular video. I'm guessing the found footage here. So here we go. The most terrifying video I have never watched, says a nasal male voice, is the Warnenagara Wanderer. It's potentially the most cursed video of all time, for everyone who has watched the original video immediately blinds themselves and tears out their tongues. If you don't believe me,
I have included a list at the end of this video with the names of real people who have suffered this exact fate. If you still want to watch it after viewing this video, you can find it in the links below. The Warren Anagaro Wanderer video was originally uploaded in 2019. Watching it has had such devastating consequences that the video has been banned around the world. Whilst I have no proof of this, I have heard that the video is being researched by the military to try to understand how the video forces people to harm themselves. The screenshot you can see was taken from the original Warren Anagaro Wanderer video, which consists of a single clip of CCTV footage taken from the Warren Anagaro police station on the night of August 22nd, 2019. No one knows who leaked it online or how it was leaked, for how could anyone know what it was without watching it first? Warren Anagaro is a small country town in Western Australia with a population in the low hundreds. It has a single police station with one holding cell and a police force of less than 10 officers. The screenshot was taken before any of the events and the actual video transpired. On August 22nd, 2 officers arrested a man who was standing in the middle of the road on the outskirts of the town. He was naked and had painted mysterious symbols all over his body. Given how dark his skin was, the police originally thought he was of indigenous origin and may have been participating in a native ritual. However, the man failed to answer any of their questions and was almost entirely unresponsive. On closer examination, the officers noticed that the lower half of the man's face was badly scarred, and they surmised that he could not speak due to the nature of an old injury. So, the cops loaded him into their car and drove him to the gas station. Gas station? No, they didn't. Drove him to the station, where he was placed in a single holding cell. He was to remain there the night with 2 other officers on duty. The footage starts at 22:15 and runs until 22:31. It starts when the Wanderer has already been installed in the cell. In the video, a cop can be seen sitting behind his desk, facing the holding cell. The Wanderer stands in the corner staring out the door. There is no attempt by himself or the officers to communicate with one another. At 22:28, another nude man, covered in symbols in the same way as the Wanderer, enters the station and frees the Wanderer. The Wanderers leave the police station, leaving behind the 2 cops who gouge their eyes out and cut their tongues from their heads. Why the cops mutilated themselves, I do not know. What I do know is that the Wanderer and his colleague disappeared without a trace, and the officers have never attempted to communicate why they mutilated themselves to anyone else. Although their injuries don't prevent them from communicating, albeit with difficulty, they have refused to attempt any form of communication since the incident. They have been placed into care, for although they have only lost their sight and speech, they remain in a catatonic state, as does everyone else who watches this video. The video about the video does not tell me much. The links to names of people who had allegedly been harmed from watching the video did not work. No surprise there. And when I tried to look up Warren Anagaro, the town, the search returned nothing either. It is a fake. I will watch it. I will be fine. I select the thumbnail of the real Warren Anagaro Wanderer video and hit play. The Warren Anagaro Wanderer. The video does not appear to be CCTV footage. It does. The video does appear to be CCTV footage. The camera is indeed in one of the upper corners of the room, looking down into a police station. It shows some filing cabinets, a desk, and a tiny holding cell with a door made of iron bars, just like in the screenshot I had seen. A naked man, covered in symbols, stands alone in the holding cell. He is the Warren Anagaro Wanderer. Seated at the desk is a young-looking cop. He's filling out paperwork with a Biro, I think is how they pronounce it. Biro is how they pronounce it.
It's like a name of a pen brand. And I guess in England, it's kind of like Kleenex, right? Like, oh, give me a Kleenex, but it's actually tissue paper. So it's a ballpoint pen, but they call them biros because that's the company, I guess. Not familiar with my pen brands, but biro, I think is how you say it. Pausing occasionally to chew on the end of it, as though there is not a naked freak in the holding cell. The Wanderer is smaller than I thought he would be. He is a dark, emaciated. Wow. The Wanderer is smaller than I thought he would be. He is a dark, emaciated man who could be no younger than 70 years old. He is completely naked, with deep shadows between his ribs, and he is painted from head to toe with strange symbols. I cannot make out what they are or what they mean, but he is littered with them. Beneath a bushy gray beard, where his throat meets his collarbone, there are thick knotted scars, like his throat was ripped out by a wolf. His eyes are set so deep in his head, you cannot see them. It is unsettling. I try to identify some of the symbols on his body, looking for familiar shapes, but the effort makes my vision blurry. The harder I try, the more alien they become. Whatever they are, they look wrong. Not as in sick, not even wrong as in disturbing, but wrong as though it is something I'm not meant to see. What could they mean? I stare, enraptured, trying to make sense of the Wanderer. I stared at the projector screen as the seconds tick by in the bottom right corner of the video. The Wanderer does not move. He just stares out of the cell's door. Dread slithers through my bowels. I fight the growing urge to look away, to break the video's spell. An electric charge passes between me and the screen, and I am aware that something is happening before anything changes on the screen. In the video, the cop glances up, presumably to where a door opens into the station. The timestamp in the corner of the screen reads 22:28. Entering the scene in the bottom left-hand corner of the video is a man who looks identical to the Wanderer. He, too, is naked, wraith-like, and covered in symbols. The cop starts to stand, then freezes. He drops back into his chair. The new Wanderer looks around the room, and then up at the camera. I flinch. He does not look at the camera, for he has no eyes, only two hideously gaping holes where his eyes should be. I feel his eyeless gaze boring into me, and I cannot look away. He has seen me. After what feels like a billion years, the second Wanderer breaks his gaze and strides across the room to the holding cell, reaching through the bars and clasping hands with the prisoner. Their hands clasped together, their fingers interlocking and moving. No, not moving, unraveling. Their hands are clasped, and the flesh of their hands and fingers is unraveling, unfurling, and beginning to weave together, intertwining like pieces of ribbon. The cop gawks, eyes bugging out of his head. Still holding hands, the fluttering of tissue continues up the arms of the naked men, as the muscles and nerves, blood vessels and bone unwind and surge up the arms of the man outside the cell. Already, the man in the cell seems diminished, whilst the one who stands outside of it is larger, healthier, more substantial. As I watch, the man in the cell melts into the other one, flowing out of the cell and up his arms. In seconds, the cell is empty. The new Wanderer stands taller, stronger. Despite the changes to his form, he is still covered in arcane symbols. He turns to face the cop. Then he faces the camera. Now his throat is intact, and his eye sockets contain two luminous eyes. I can feel their heat through the screen despite the distance. From the screen and across the years since the video was filmed, and it chills me. I can still feel the gaze when the Wanderer walks out of the view of the camera and leaves the station. Trembling in his seat, the cop reaches for the biro on his desk. He raises it up, bringing the tip close to his face, as though he is inspecting it. Then, he closes his fist around the barrel. angles the tip at his face, and plunges it into his right eye. Without pausing, he wrenches it downwards, tearing the ruined organ from his head. He repeats the action with his other eye. Then he removes a penknife from his pocket and thrusts the blade into his mouth, sweeping it back and forth as he carves his tongue out in great bloody chunks. This done, he remains sitting, staring straight ahead, blood pouring out of his eye sockets and mouth until the video ends at 22:31. The video ends. The computer screen goes dark. There's something there. The darkness of the screen is moving, shifting, swarming. It is a mass of shadows that are not shadows, for there is no light to give them form, and in that absence of light, I see him, the Wanderer. He materializes through the symbols that are not painted on his flesh, but are a part of it, part of him. Not two separate, damaged men, but a restored entity. He stares at me, his gaze unwavering, as he steps out of the screen and into the room. Eyes gleaming, he steps towards me. I cannot move, I cannot blink. The proximity of his arcane form numbs my mind, turning my thoughts thick and viscous. I do not understand what is happening. And yet I do. I knew what would happen. I have seen what man has never intended to see, and I must pay the price. The Wanderer stares at me. There is no anger in his expression, no hatred. Why would there be? It does not matter. I'm so small, so insignificant, inconsequential. All the same, I must simply unsee it and must not communicate it to others. All that remains is for me to do what is right. Gently, his flesh so cold as to feel almost warm, the Wanderer clasps my hands in his. He raises them in front of my face. I extend my thumbs towards my eyes, press my tongue between my teeth, and start to bite down, feeling the muscle crunching between my incisors. My thumbnails scratch against the soft gel of my eyeballs, and I start to push. The end. That one gets a little darker and more gruesome. And then the last one. Yikes, don't watch that YouTube video, right? That, again, was Seeing is Believing by Ben Matthews, and that should be next month, I believe, on theotherstories.net after they get a hold of it and do their production stuff. So I'm sure it will sound 8 billion times better than what you just heard. So plus, there won't be any mistakes in it. It'll just be, nice and cleaned and fully produced. So anyways, that is the end. Today, I'm going to go back to the desk. Let's talk for a little bit about what's coming up and some fun stuffs, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'll see you back at the desk. Ugh. Yeah. I need like a little jingle or something. Some music to play as I'm headed back to the desk, right? I guess I could always cue up the scary music in the background like that if I wanted to, I guess. Anyways, thank you for joining me on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. If you're there, thank you so much for joining me on this Macabre Monday. I try to do this every Monday, 6 p.m. PST time. And then this Wednesday, and I try every Wednesday as well, 6 p.m. PST, I do what's called Whiskey Wednesday because I'm a sucker for alliteration. That's why. Where we sit back, we sip on a whiskey. For me, could be anything for you. Doesn't have to be whiskey. Could be water, hot chocolate, whatever. But the point is, we sit back, relax, and listen to the first chapter of an author's story that has submitted it to me to read live. And I get to share that with you all. It's kind of a nice thing that I look forward to every Wednesday. Middle of the week, hump day, as it were. And we just get to relax and listen to some good stories. And they've all been, I was talking about this earlier, they've all been really good. Y'all are real talented.
And they've been a joy to read. And the exposure to all these different genres that I've gotten is just absolutely amazing. We read on one of them. There we go. Moonlight's Embrace by Ruby Rednecks. Mama Rednecks, as she goes by on Twitch. Check out her channel if you want to. Twitch TV / Mama Rednecks. And so we've gotten some stuff from Twitch. We've gotten some stuff from just social media, from authors that have reached out and volunteered their chapters. I've read everything from horror to fantasy to children's stories to male romance. You name it, I've probably read it at this point. And it's been a lot of fun. A lot of really cool stories that we've gotten exposed to, just people submitting their stuff, and it's been awesome. And now I have a whole bunch of new authors that I really enjoy their stuff, and I've been picking up their books and reading them too when I get a moment. So anyways, this Wednesday, 6 p.m. PST, we'll be doing Whiskey Wednesday, and it will be, that'll be the 14th. So it'll be Stephen Grant's False Tidings. So if you're curious, you can look that up. It's available on all the places, the Zon, all that kind of stuff. But I'll have more information about it this Wednesday, 6 p.m. PST, when we read the first chapter of it. Super excited to get into that, and hopefully you'll all join me there. And if not, hey, it's always recorded. You can go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@456, like you're looking at on YouTube and Twitch. And if you're on Instagram, that's the number 4, FIFE, the number 6 on YouTube. And you can find all the recordings of my past Whiskey Wednesdays and Macabre Mondays for all the short horror stories that we read there as well. So anyways, I think I'm going to call it there. It's been a pretty short stream tonight, but we're just kind of getting back into the swing of things on Macabre Monday. After this, I've got to go and start recording on an audiobook. I've got to record one of the stories you just heard, and then I got to jump into the audiobook again and keep knocking that one out. I'll be talking about the first book in that series that's already done, and it should be coming out on Audible any day now. I'll let you all know. I'm hoping by this Whiskey Wednesday I can announce it and let you all know to pick up a copy if you're into kind of a murder mystery, if you will, thriller. It's a good one, and I'm excited to finish the second book in the series. It'll be out here soon, hopefully, as well. All right. I think that's it. I think I'm just going to pass over to another channel here. Let's see who we got. Who's on? And we'll go raid another channel on Twitch. If you're on Instagram, I'm going to say goodbye to you now because it won't transfer you anywhere. You'll just be staring at my face and listen to me mouth breathe. So thanks for joining me on Instagram if you're there. I'll talk to you all next time there. Bye-bye. On YouTube as well, you're not probably going to see anything either. So I will see you later as well. And then Twitch chat will send y'all over to another streamer that we pick here. Maybe we'll watch something exciting. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But see you later there on YouTube. Thanks for joining me. Let's see here. Who should we raid? Oh, we got my